All right, so today we're going to look at Septor, which is marketed out as a new privacy-focused distro. In fact, according to their main site, SwitchedtoLinux is an operating system that provides users with perfect computing environment for surfing the internet anonymously. And so somebody left a comment to review this or look at it, and I'm not sure if it was, maybe it was the Septor guys themselves, not sure. But I saw it was on DistroWatch. It's brand new to DistroWatch. It is a very new distro. They released a version last year, and they have a version this year. So here's their page on SourceForge. So they say, of course, it provides users with a perfect computing environment for surfing the internet anonymously. It works with stable and reliable distribution based on Debian. So it's working on Debian testing. And it uses a customized KDE Plasma desktop. Now it has kernel 4.19, so you're getting Debian with a very recent kernel. I'm not sure which Debian testing runs. If it runs 4.19 or not, it might. I don't know. For the internet, it has Tor Browser, Thunderbird, HexChat, Ricochet, Quiet RSS, and Onion Share. Of course, the privacy-centric ones are Ricochet, Onion Share, and Tor Browser. Has Synaptic and GDeb, and then it has a few other utilities. One of the main utilities that some people would be interested in is it supports VeraCrypt out of the box, and it has LibreOffice, a variety of other Office type suites, GIMP, and a variety of other graphic suites. So, of course, this is a new distribution. They did have a version of it from last year, the 2018. I think there's one that's older than this as well. I think there was one like maybe May or June or something last year, and then this was just released. Of course, there are on SourceForge no reviews on it yet, and as far as support, there is nothing there, and as far as the wiki, we have one page, which is a default edit wiki page. So as far as documentation, you have absolutely Zipola. This is the original press release for the new release of the 2019 version. I don't speak that language, so Google Translate's a thing. So, of course, they're just telling us it's a well-known main feature of the operating system is for traffic on the Tor network, which at the present time is considered one of the safest ways to communicate on the internet. And so for insufficiently addressed, it is a system for routing traffic through the number of mediators. Okay, so that's kind of how the Tor network works. Then it's, of course, based on KDE. So this is the only other page about it. Again, there's really not much information. So this is kind of what we're jumping into. So we'll attempt to be nice to it as we recognize it is a brand new player. So we'll see what this guy runs like. Now, I did not install this. All I did is I ran it as a live key. So it is set to run as a live key, or you can install it. It is a 2 GB download, so it is a little bit larger of a download, but most of these distros are kind of larger in their download size. Let's go ahead and boot this guy up and see what it looks like. So here we are given the option to go into the live, the graphical install, or the install. We'll just go into the live for now. Okay, so here we are on the startup. And one of the first observations we are going to make is for a distribution that is supposed to be used as a live key, at least partially as a live key, first thing that I notice is that it is not booting into full screen, which is very annoying and very much behind its other privacy-focused competitors. So we can go ahead and fix that. We'll just go ahead and go into our displays, and I can come down here and just go ahead and change our displays. Of course, apparently I rotated the monitor as well. I don't want any rotation. All right, there we are. Okay, so no, I picked the wrong size. Come on, where are you? There we are. All right. So now we can go full size. So that is one of the downsides, is that it does not give us a full size. To my understanding, I think that the only web browser that we have is Tor, which is very annoying. And the reason is, if you've ever used the Tor network, sure, it's great for security, but it's really bad at speed. So if I needed to get on and do something quick where I'm not quite as concerned about security on the internet, I would need to go and install another browser. Again, we do have the anonymous messaging through Ricochet. We do have the Onion Share, which is a great way to share files over the Tor network. Onion Share and, of course, Tor is what Tails uses. I don't know if they have Ricochet on it or not. I just can't remember, but that's that. So first, let's go ahead and look at what else is installed. Now, any of these applications or these distros meant to be running as a live key generally have more software, which is why they're bigger downloads, which is... the reason you want to do that is you want to have a system which is curated for enough applications that somebody doesn't feel they need to install software every time they load it up. There are also no persistent drive tools, so if you are running this as a live distribution, then you're going to have to figure out how to get your persistence set up another way. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. I was looking for that earlier and I did not see it. So we do have the entire suite of K applications. So we do have enough tools and system utilities and things like that. So let's see. We have Yahoo Weather. Yeah. Yahoo Weather, not exactly a company known necessarily for security, although it does seem to have some problems getting on the internet right now. Not sure why. Of course, let's go ahead and boot up our Tor browser. So now I click this and it's downloading the browser for the first time. So every single time you run this as a live key, it's going to have to walk through an installation for a Tor browser. So unless this is just, is this the installer? And it says it's the Tor browser. So this might be a few minutes before we can actually get on the internet. As far as our theming is concerned, you know, the theming is nice. The wallpaper's cool. The theming is fine. We should have all of our basic system settings that we can do on Plasma. So we do have a very recent version of Plasma you can see here. Does not appear we have our, let's double check. I was going to say, let's see if we have our, yeah, we do not have the ability to do online applications. So yeah, we still don't have a browser up. So you're definitely going to want to install this on something because frankly, every time you boot this up as a live key, clicking that button and having to sit here and click the button. I mean, we clicked that button a couple minutes ago and we don't have anything. Maybe is it doing something else now? Let's try clicking it again. See what happens here. Of course, our weather is still not working. So we actually are on the internet. That's good. Good to know. All right. But we still don't have a browser. Come on. I don't know what it's doing. It's just sitting here. So I don't have another browser. So I'd have to, let me come over to, oh, we don't have Discover on here. Let's go with Synaptic. Let's go ahead and download a better browser. I have Firefox ESR, so that's my option. I don't know where my Tor browser is. It's my Tor browser's gone MIA. It's out of here. There it is. We got the bouncy again, and it just kind of disappears. I don't know what it's doing. let's look at the system monitor and see if Tor's running. No, I don't see Tor running, so it's simply not working. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Oh, yes, we are waiting. Why not Firefox Quantum? Because it's based on Debian, and Debian generally uses Firefox ESR. That's why. Tor, are you doing anything? Yeah, Tor's still MIA. Applying changes, MIA. We're just waiting. Let's see what else is under the hood. So our GIMP should be, pretty much all our applications should be some of the very most recent applications. It is a very recent version of GIMP. It is a very recent version of LibreOffice. Let's see if all of the spelling checkers and all the other plugins and things you want to use are over here. Woohoo! Look at that. An error occurred. Okay, permission denied. Is that permission denied to install? I don't know. Let's see. Firefox seems to be running. Woohoo! We have internet. Look at that. We have internet, folks. We have internet. So we are Firefox Quantum. It is 6004 ESR. So it is still based on Quantum. It's just pretty old. What else was I doing? LibreWriter? Apparently nothing works on this operating system. So I'm just going to give this guy a good old 2 thumbs down. So what's good about it? Well, we have Debian with a brand new kernel. Let's go ahead and pull up our system information and just verify everything. So our kernel version is 4.19. Our Qt version is 5.11. KDE Plasma version 5.14. Let's see. Should we try and install this? See if it installs? I don't think there's an installer on here, is there? No, there is not an installer on this. Let's just try and load up the whole LibreOffice base. Let's see if that works. No, that doesn't work either. So the entire system's not really working right. Their weather application's not working. We don't have a web browser other than Tor, which isn't actually installed, and we can't even get it running. We can install a web browser. So the good news, we have Debian with a very up-to-date kernel. If you like Plasma, we have a Plasma, and it installs. VeraCrypt is installed by default. So if you are using VeraCrypt for your encryption, you have an option. It's here. Awesome. Very good. What's the downside of this? Well, the reality is, all they're saying is, to me, this feels like the same approach that people are doing with like Wine, where you'll take a Linux distro and then you're jumping on the bandwagon. You're jumping on the bandwagon to say, hey, Linux is more secure. It's not getting Windows issues and things. And then you drop Wine on top of it without any extra reason why, which is why I don't recommend Zorin, actually. Kudos to Farron OS. Listen to that initial thought and has an option to install Wine if you want it. That's the way Zorin should do it. Because not everybody needs Wine. And all you're doing to say, hey, you have the security of Linux, and then you're dropping Wine on top of it, it can run a Windows application. Well, this is doing the same thing. They're saying it's a distro for privacy online. All they're doing, it's just a distro with the Tor Browser bundle, which is the worst way to access Tor. I do not recommend using the Tor Browser bundle unless you have no other option or you have a very niche needs. If you need to get on Tor, you need to be using Unix, you need to be using cubes, or you need to be using tails. And there's a few others, like heads might be a good one as well. The reason is these do different things than just the Tor browser bundle. If I were going online and doing something sensitive that I needed the Tor browser bundle with, I'm going to, well, hold on. While I continue talking here, I'm going to shut this system down, and we're going to try and install this. We're going to see if it works better when it's actually installed. All right. And so, let's see, Septor, we're going to boot this up, and we'll go ahead and install it this time. So, let's do the graphic installer. All right, so what I'm saying here is that if you need to get on the internet and do something, and you download a file, for example, if you're not using something like Tails, and that file automatically makes an internet connection, it goes around your Tor browser bundle and de-anonymizes you, which defeats the purpose to begin with. That's why using the Tor browser bundle, you have got to be very careful with it. Something like Tails, it embeds Tor into the root of the system, so there's no internet connections in or out on any process except through Tor. That's why it's more secure. Unix and Cubes does the exact same thing. All right, so let's go ahead and walk through the installation of this guy. This is the basic Debian installer. It may or may not work. I've had some issues with Debian installers recently. If it fails, it's not a fault of Septor. It's the fact that everything based on Debian I've attempted to install on has failed at some form or another. But let's go ahead and walk through it and see what it's doing. It is doing a really good job of auto-detecting everything, though, so I'm not sure we're going to have a failure or not. If we have a failure, it's going to be at the point of making your... it's going to fail on formatting the hard drive is what it will do. Okay, so it looks like it is actually installing the system, so that is good news. We are going to go ahead and while this installs, we're going to take a little moment to look at our comments, and then we will be back to the installation here. We'll see if this thing works better when it's actually installed to the disk. All right, so it installed, and let's go ahead and get booted into this bad boy here. Let's see if it actually works better once it's installed. Looks like it might not be full screen still. All right, so yes, we are still not installed full screen, but we are now installed and we are no longer running on a virtual machine. So let's see how this guy's gonna run now. Okay, good. All right, so here we are. Let's see if our weather thing doesn't seem to find any weather still. Let's see if our Tor browser bundle will actually download the Tor browser and go. So it's downloading, waiting, installing. Okay, so it says it's installing. Let's just go. Okay, well, the installer just vanished on me. Oh my, look at that. It actually worked now. Let's go ahead and connect. All right, what else wasn't working? LibreOffice wasn't working before, so let's go ahead and boot up LibreOffice. Let's see if it works now. All right, let's go with a... Oh, all right. Spelling checker. There's that. There, we do not have our synonyms in, and it is not picking my themes out as well. There's some settings to do to change that. So, all right, now let's go ahead and look at what is my IP. Well, apparently I'm forbidden from going to what is my IP. Let's do the check bundle. That's fine. Tor network settings. That's fine. Let's go with Tor check. Okay, so it is configured to use Tor, tells me JavaScript is enabled, and this is definitely not my IP address. So everything now is actually working. So now I clicked on that, so now it is actually working. So installing it seems to work, using it as a live key, you're taking your life into your own hands. All right, so we have no other web browser than just that one, and you'd think you might want one of those. So all right, well, it's now working. Installing it seems to work better. Now, is this, as they claim, a security focused distro for browsing the internet anonymously? No, this is simply Debian testing running Plasma with the Tor Browser bundle. And I don't recommend the Tor Browser bundle unless you have no other real options. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not quite sure that this one's necessarily worth the time of day right now. No, not Septor. No, my lordy. No, search only for Septor. All right. So, does this accomplish its goals? I don't know. Number one, I'm having issues on the live key, although installing it seems to work fine. There's no alternative browser, and the Tor browser is not even configured on the live key. So, it's useless as a live instance, because every time I'd want to get on the internet, it's going to take me several minutes to get on the internet, which kind of defeats the purpose. It doesn't have any other real extra anonymous or security privacy things other than just a few packages added, such as your Tor file sharing, or your Onion share, and your anonymous thing. This icon theming is pretty sweet. I like that. But I don't really see necessarily a need for this in the market. I don't see it solving a problem. This comes nowhere close to Unix, cubes, or tails, or heads for that matter. And I would like to see more configuration. So if the developers are watching this, it's not like a pack up and go home. It's you got some things to do. Number one, make sure that everything's working on the live instance. And if it doesn't work in a VM for whatever reason, make sure people are aware of that. Make sure you have some degree of documentation. And make sure that the browser is configured on the live key so we're not having to download it when you install it. I'm also finding several other applications not working. We have this weather widget that's installed here by default that doesn't actually work. So I'd probably either make sure that works or get rid of it. VLC apparently is in Russian, so it's very quick. It loaded fast. It was rushing its way to the load screen, but you can kind of see that there's some stuff here that's not quite set up. And all this is it's just Debian with Plasma and the Tor Browser bundle. That's not exactly what I call a privacy and anonymous-based distribution. Look into Tails, look into Unix, look into cubes, and see what they're doing. That's kind of my thoughts. So that's kind of my thoughts, my opinions on this particular distro. Maybe I'll come back to this after a period of time, after it grows a little bit more, and see if it's actually come any further. But as for now, does this solve anything in the Linux community? I don't see it solving anything for the Linux community. I don't necessarily see I don't see a lot with this that I'm excited about. I don't see it as something I'd necessarily want to run, and it seems like it's trying to catch on to the bandwagon of being secure and private online. but it's questionable whether it actually achieves that goal. If you need security and privacy online, I have some great tutorials on Tails. I've looked at cubes and Unix before. Those are the ones that I would recommend you go for. So thanks for watching, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you for making it to the end of this Switch to Linux video. You can have a look at another video right on over here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel or to Think Life Media, which is my own personal support page. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.